Well, for more than 2 centuries, the top ranks of American power have been dominated by men. But that ended today. Kamala Harris is now the nation's first female vice president. I spoke today with two of our valley's mayors, Christy Holstage of Palm Springs and Kathleen Kelly of Palm Desert, to find out more about what this means for American politics and for future generations. Christy and Kathleen, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Peter. Happy to be here.
Yes, our privilege.
As women who hold elected positions, your reaction to today's inauguration and seeing Kamala Harris sworn in as vice president. Christy?
What a historic moment for our country and all the little girls and boys watching at home. We grew up in a world where we didn't know as women if we could be president or vice president. So earlier this year, we made history in the city of Palm Springs for having our first female mayor after 82 years, and to have a vice president of the United States in Kamala Harris, and to be a woman. What a historic moment for all of us.
Kathleen?
Well, of course, in Palm Desert, women in leadership is getting to be old hat. But this was still a very exciting day. It makes a difference to young people to see folks in position of influence who look like them. I hear that from little girls I meet as mayor. And Vice President Harris just checks so many boxes in terms of groups to whom her accomplishments give encouragement. All Californians can be proud of her, and of course women, African Americans, Asians. She's the embodiment of American opportunity.
What do you think this means for the future of not only our country, but locally, seeing not just Kamala Harris as vice president, but Christy, you mentioned you're the very first female mayor in the city of Palm Springs ever. Obviously, Kathleen, you're a mayor as well. Is this a new era for women in politics? Christy?
And Palm Desert definitely has us beat. I know they've had a majority female city council much before us. But overall, women only hold about a third of elected offices. That's true even in California and at the city council level. And traditionally, city councils have been, we've been underrepresented. And so I wouldn't say it's a new era. I think it's a continuation of 200 years of the civil rights movement and suffragist movements and, all of this work standing on people's shoulders to get us here. But I do think it's a new moment where we are more closely approaching equal representation, in these important offices. And so, like Mayor Kelly said, for all the little girls who are watching, it definitely matters. I get letters from people who see us in these positions and can dream big. And so I think that's important as we think about the next phase of this too, of the people who are going to come after us. And I love how Vice President Harris said, the first but not the last. And that's really our job, is to make sure that we have women in these positions, way into the future. And we do approach just equal seats in these positions.
Kathleen?
One of the things I find most powerful is really how recent it was that women were just fighting for the right to vote, which we take for granted now. That was not ancient history. So look how far we've progressed, not just in terms of positions we hold, but recognition of our place at the table. And that should create optimism for every single group who feels like they're struggling to have their voice heard.